This is Live from the Backroom. I'm Remington Ricketts. Today's special guest, Mikayla Lane. Mikayla, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So, from what I've been told, this is actually a revisit here to us at Live from the Backroom. First time here at the new studio.
It is. I was here in, I think, last year. Yeah, this is my second radio tour on my second single to Texas radio. So yeah, I'm excited to be here. I love the new setup. It looks great.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
And speaking of second time around, what's this second trip been like for you so far?
It's been super busy. My schedule's like back to back. I'll have, I think one of the days I have like 5 to 6 stations in one day. So that gives you an idea. Super busy. I'm from Oklahoma, so started back at home and made my way to Arkansas, up to Kansas, and now down in Texas. So, but it's a lot of fun. It'll be throughout the whole month of February. So
awesome.
Yeah.
And for those who may not have heard of Mikayla Lane quite yet, what would you say your kind of voice is? What is your music speaking to?
So I grew up within the ranching world, so I like to promote the cowboy way of life, the ranching lifestyle, all that through my music, and I want to have a platform to be able to promote that while also promoting my passion, which is music. So I kind of try to do hand in hand with both of those, and I feel like they really feed off each other because I get my song inspiration and ideas for songwriting when I'm outside doing all of the things I just mentioned, and so they kind of bounce off each other, which is great, and it's been a lot of fun. I've been doing it forever, so.
Yeah. Is it something you just kind of grew up with, the music, or is it something that you kind of found your way into? What's kind of the story behind the music?
So I started performing whenever I was 5. So none of my family has anything to do with music, so it was super random. But we would listen to music all the time whenever I was helping my dad. Whenever I was growing up, that's all we'd listen to was country music, and I always really loved it. And I just had a great time doing it, and it kind of led into something that I just continued to grow, and started writing and recording my own stuff instead of just playing cover shows and that sort of thing. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun songwriting and turning nothing into a song and then hearing it on like the radio or wherever is like such a reward, and it's so cool.
And I think the songwriting aspect is underrated most of the time, because in my head I'm driving down the road and I think, oh yeah, I could write a song, and then I start coming up with a line or two, and then after that,
then you try to do it and then you're just done.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely an art form for sure, and it definitely takes some time. Like for me, the first few songs I wrote at the time, I was like, these are great, because I started writing when I was 13, and now I look back and I'm like, what in the world is this? And so it's definitely a growth kind of process, and it does take some thought for sure. And I like to write with another person in the room so that we can kind of bounce ideas off each other, because if you get stuck and it's just you, then you're kind of done until later and you can think of something else. So yeah, songwriting's great. I really like songwriting from like a visual standpoint. I come from like, if I see something going down the road, or I was doing something and I'm like, man, this is such a cool experience, this could be such a cool song, then I think back to that time. I'm like, how can I make this song feel like this moment? So I come from a very visual standpoint in songwriting.
And I think that's very apparent in some of your songs, that you almost visualize the words that you're singing, and so it just comes to life for someone like me who's an audience member and listening to that, and can kind of pick up on some of those visual details. So.
Yeah, thank you. I love that style of songwriting, taking pieces from music that I listened to growing up with my dad, which is like really cowboy music stuff, and like taking a little bit of that and mixing it with my style creates a really cool like modern sound, but it's also that kind of nod back to cowboy western kind of style stuff. So
and that kind of leads me into my next question. I kind of throw this curveball out there. If you could go back in any time, any period of history, and see a live performance from someone, who would that be, and kind of why?
Oh gosh, man. Probably, Man, that's so tough. I mean, this probably wouldn't be going like too far back in time, but I think seeing Joan Jett live would be really cool, which is like super random because I obviously do not look like a Joan Jett person, but I think her stuff's awesome. I do a couple of her songs in my set, and I think rock and roll has such a influence on country music, and I think that it's just kind of a back and forth with rock and roll and country. So I'd probably say her. She's pretty cool.
Well, that's a great answer. I haven't heard anyone kind of in the rock era yet. I've asked that question a couple of times,
really?
And it's more throwback. Johnny Cash and some,
that'd be cool too.
Just kind of older legends. So it's cool to hear the Joan Jett, and especially with the rock and roll going hand in hand with the country music. I definitely could see that.
And I think you see rock a lot more in country, like today, like Hardy, for example. He has such a rock and roll sound. Some of like Morgan Wallen stuff has a little bit of that in there. Chris Stapleton for sure. So yeah, I think she'd be cool.
Yeah, awesome. And so we kind of break into a segue here towards your new song. We've got Neon out. We've been promoting it here on the station.
Thank you.
Really enjoy that song. What is Neon for you? Kind of the backstory behind that and the ways you're promoting that.
So I honestly didn't really have a storyline that I wanted to specifically go for. I wrote this song with Bridget Tatum, who most people would know her from She's Country by Jason Aldean. She's a great songwriter in Nashville, and she's been a great mentor for me. And whenever I went in the writing room with her, I just wanted a song that would kind of like bring some energy to my live show, and Neon's perfect for that. It wasn't really a specific direction or story that I was trying to tell. It was just kind of like a fun live honky tonk dance hall kind of song, something you'd hear in like Billy Bob's or Green Hall or wherever. So yeah, that's Neon, and I love playing it live. I think one of the first times I played it live was whenever I opened for Aaron Watson, and I got a great response from it there. So I'm excited. It's been a lot of fun, and live it's a good one live.
And for your live shows, is that something that you take a lot of pride in, going out and getting to do these live shows? What's kind of the scene for you on a live show night?
Yeah, I love live shows. If I could pick a live show, it would for sure be full band every time. Acoustic is cool for like a singer-songwriter thing, but I just think the full band, I mean, that's like what people pay to go see concerts is like full band stuff. So I love the full band shows. They're a ton of fun, and I think that's like literally the whole point of doing music is if you can't connect with the people in the audience at a live show, then that's like one of the most important parts of being in the music industry. So I love live shows, and going back to that show with Aaron Watson, that was like so much fun. And it's weird how different parts of the world have such different crowds. Like that crowd, and it was actually in Midland, Texas that show was, and they were a great crowd. Festivals in like the summer usually have great crowds, so I really like crowds that are there to have a good time. And yeah, so I love the live show thing. I would do full band every day if I could.
Awesome. And I'm a big advocate for live music. I love going to live shows, and especially the live band like you were talking about. It just adds that certain aspect to the show that you pay to go see. And so
yeah, exactly. Awesome. I'm a huge fan too. So. And
so you talking about opening up for Aaron Watson. What are some of your other experiences that you've been on? I know that you do live shows in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Let's see here. You've also got some shows going around in Nashville?
Yeah.
And Orlando. What are those kind of like?
Yeah, so one of my first like full band gigs that I did whenever I was kind of starting out was Blake Shelton's bar and grill called Ole Red, and the first one was in Tishomingo, Oklahoma, and then like you mentioned those other spots, he's got locations there and in Vegas. So that's kind of where I started, and they've been great supporters there. Blake's been awesome. He's a great encouragement to have, and to have someone at his level kind of knowing what you're doing and seeing it and appreciating it is just really awesome. But last year I got to open for Shenandoah at Billy Bob's, and that was like a bucket list moment. That was so cool. I got to play the Ryman Auditorium in Nashville, which was another huge one. So last year was crazy, and I was just so excited to do both of those shows. I'd say the Ryman is probably like my top just because it's so iconic. I mean, the people who have been on that stage is just crazy. So yeah, both of those were great, but I think the Ryman was definitely the coolest.
And that's such an awesome experience to get to do those things and basically jump from one iconic place to another.
I know.
And so that's so awesome that you get to do that.
Thank you. It was a huge blessing, and being on the stage with Shenandoah, who's an amazing group, of course, and that spot at the Ryman, the full band opening slot for, it was like a Christmas benefit thing, and it was like Phil Vassar, Shenandoah again, Chapel Hart, and some other folks. It was just so cool. So it was awesome.
That's awesome. And we'll kind of transition now going into, I see the Vegas Toughest Junior World Championship. You were the official spokesperson for that? Yeah,
that was really cool. So I did that, I think it was 2022, I think. And that was an awesome experience. Mike and Sherry Lynn are the founders of that. They're awesome. And they've been in rodeo their whole life. They're from Oklahoma, and they really believed in me as an artist and what I represent, and it was just a natural fit. So that was a great experience to be able to represent youth rodeo and all the kids that were involved. I loved it, and I went out there for the National Finals Rodeo in 2022, sang the anthem every day for that, and it was just a great experience. And the NFR, of course, is like amazing. So
awesome. Is there something that you are looking forward to here in the future that you think, if you look back 5 years, maybe you would say, I don't think I would have ever gotten there as a artist, basically? Is there something that you're doing coming up that makes you think that?
Yeah, I'm actually playing a festival in May, and Travis Tritt's headlining it. It's the Troubadour Fest in College Station, and it's like so many guys that I look up to and are just icons in Texas music and in country music in general that will be playing that show, and I'm just so excited. And it's in College Station, a party town, so I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And I think those festival slots are just so cool. I mean, everybody's there to have a good time, and there's always a great turnout. I've also just finished recording a song for a movie, which I'm really excited about. I didn't think that would happen, but here we are. Oh. And it was really random how that happened. So last year, 4E J Smith from Yellowstone, which people know him as Lloyd. I actually met him last year and we hit it off, and he was in the middle of doing a album. He doesn't sing, but he writes these like cowboy poems, and he was working with a guy helping him put it to music and all that. And he wanted me to be a part of one of the songs. And so I wrote a verse, and I was kind of like a feature on that. And I spent the whole NFR and last year with him doing meet and greets and at the Cowboy Channel and all that, and that led to this movie that he's working on, me having a song in that. So that was crazy. But wow. Yeah, so a couple things that already this year have just been amazing, so I'm super thankful.
And that kind of goes hand in hand with my almost next curveball question, but soundtracks in movies are something that some people don't realize play an important role. And It's not just movies, it's TV shows and video games and advertisements and all that. Do you notice certain things like that now that you're a singer-songwriter? Are there things that you notice now?
I mean, I think music is like one of the most important things in a movie or a show, because I mean, people will recognize a soundtrack before they even recognize the movie sometimes. So I think that's extremely important. Another really random thing is like Pirates of the Caribbean is like one of my favorite soundtrack movies, and it's like not my genre or vibe really at all, but it's just like so good. And I think it's one of the most important parts of the whole show. Yellowstone, again, that has a great soundtrack. So yeah, super, super important. And to answer your question, yes, I do notice that stuff a lot.
And you know, it's funny you bring up Pirates. I just finished watching that series literally like 3 nights ago or something like that. And it's the first time I've seen
right?
it. And the music in it, I was just thinking to myself, like, wow, it takes a lot to go into that. And how iconic, if one thing changes in that, how much different it would be. If that makes sense.
Yeah, so. No, it's so important. And that movies does a great job of that. So.
And as we kind of wrap up our interview here, we just want to reach out, and if fans want to get a hold of you, what's the best place to reach out and find Mikayla Lane and find more of your stuff?
Yeah, so my social media is all Mikayla Lane Music. That's MikaylaLane Music. And then website's the same, MikaylaLanemusic.com. And you can find my music on everywhere that you find music. It's literally everywhere. So
Awesome. Well, we sure do appreciate you coming in. We've got a song coming up, and it's an unreleased song.
Yeah.
What's that?
Yeah, so I'm going to play a song called Honky Tonk Halo. It's going to be my next release in March, so it's coming up. And I'm super excited about this one. Me and my dad thought of the title, and we kind of had an idea of how we thought the song should go. But I wrote this one, again, with Bridget Tatum, who I wrote Neon with and a bunch of my other music with. And it kind of took like a whole different turn. So it's pretty cool. It's probably one of my favorites that I've written. So yeah, I'm going to play Honky Tonk Halo.
This is Mikayla Lane and Honky Tonk Halo.
I bet she broke 100 horses, just like she broke 100 hearts. They said the whiskey was her poison. She would match you every shot. The jukebox was her friend. She'd play 'em all and then she'd play 'em again. They call her Honky Tonk Halo, a ghost on the desert wind. Nobody knows where she's going. Nobody knows where she's been. There's a rhinestone queen chasing that neon down the road. It might be her, only heaven knows. Honky Tonk Halos go. She danced with every other cowboy, but it didn't mean a thing. You were lucky if you held her. She was lightning in the rain. A tumbling weed with a smile, love you and leave you kind of style. They call her Honky Tonk Halo, a ghost on the desert wind. Nobody knows where she's going. Nobody knows where she's been. There's a rhinestone queen chasing that neon down the road. It might be her, only heaven knows. Where Honky Tonk Halos go. There's a rhinestone queen chasing that neon down the road. It might be her, only heaven knows. Only heaven knows. There's a rhinestone queen chasing that neon down the road. It might be her, only heaven knows. Only heaven knows where Honky Tonk Halos go.
And that was Mikayla Lane with Honky Tonk Halo. such an awesome song.
Thank you. Thanks. Yeah, I'm excited for that one to come out. It's weird whenever you write a song, the process that goes into like getting it ready to release takes forever. Mm-hmm. And you're like, dude, I just want this to come out. Like,
and that's such an awesome song. I love the rhythm in it, the lyrics. It's a great song. So
thank you.
Thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah.
And once again, would just love to show our support and thank you again for coming in and seeing us here at Live from the Backroom. It's been an awesome time. And we sure do appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here, and thank you guys for the support. You always need people like this in your corner, so really appreciate it.
Well, once again, Mikayla Lane joining us from Live from the Backroom. I'm Remington Ricketts.